Let's return to our top story and the assassination of Haiti's leader. Well, Jovenel Moïse had been ruling by decree after legislative elections in 2018 were delayed following disagreements over term limits. Moïse had wanted to change the constitution to strengthen the presidency. A referendum on a draft that was delayed last month was going to be held in September, along with national elections. While there have been regular and often violent protests against his rule since the start of the year, in recent weeks the security situation deteriorated to what the UN calls unprecedented levels. Much of that is being driven by gangs fighting each other or the police. One of Haiti's most powerful gang leaders warned in June he was launching a revolution against the business and political elites. The UN says more than 18,000 people are currently displaced by violence. Let's talk now to Michael Debert, journalist and author of Haiti Will Not Perish. He joins us live from Philadelphia. Good to have you with us. So, first of all, looking at what we know of this attack, how well planned, coordinated and executed was it?
It seems like it was an extremely well-coordinated hit, basically. There's video floating around that shows the attackers rolling up to the private residence of Jovenel Moïse and his wife, and entering and then fleeing. And it seems certainly like there was something that was very targeted and very coordinated.
Do we know who the authorities are looking at as possible suspects for this?
Well, one of the strange things is the interim Prime Minister, Claude Joseph, has said that the attackers were speaking Spanish and English, which obviously the lingua franca in Haiti is Haitian Creole and French. And some of the images that we've seen of them, they look certainly quite light-skinned, more Latino than, say, your average Haitian. So there's a lot of speculation floating about it that this was some sort of outside job contracted to foreigners who were not Haitian.
What does this mean for political transition plans, elections, a referendum?
In some ways, I guess you could say that the murder of a head of state, which hadn't happened in Haiti since 1915, was the last taboo to be broken. And now it has been broken. I mean, you have, various factions of political actors and economic actors in Haiti that control armed groups in various parts of the country. You have a discourse where violence often seems to be the first recourse at hand rather than the last. And now you have a head of state, murdered in his bed, so to speak. So I think it just marks a really grave pass for the country.
And on that point, how much overlap is there between some of the criminal gangs and security forces?
I mean, I would say certainly in terms of the criminal gangs and political actors and economic actors in Haiti, there's extensive overlap. The guys who are running these groups in the slum areas of Port-au-Prince especially, while they are rulers of their fiefdom, they're also in a way kind of prisoners of those neighborhoods. You have a guy who's the king of a couple blocks who can't really go outside of that zone because his rivals will try and kill him. And many of these historically, at least for the last 20 years, they've had patrons in the political and economic sector that have kept them free and kept them powerful.
Who fills the vacuum now? Can the Prime Minister do it?
That's a big question, I think, because there was already a really serious split within the police themselves, within the police forces, and there was already we have a nascent army that was kind of reinstituted by Jovenel Moïse in 2017, but they're not supposed to be tasked with daily law enforcement duties, basically. It sounds like there's an extreme intense calm and quiet in Haiti right now from the people I've been talking to. There have been some acts of looting and vandalism, but generally the streets sound very, very deserted. So I think there's another shoe to drop is the way most people would analyze it there.
All right, thank you for your analysis of that.